Having a summer job takes a lot of responsibility. It takes a lot of hard work and patience. A summer job with the mayor's program is an experience, a first-hand look into the work environment. It teaches you presentation, qualifies you, and gives you a greater knowledge. While working here, I've learned paperwork is very important, that every law in Laurel has a reason and history behind it, that the way you dress to your work represents the type of company you work for. If you dress sloppy, it speaks. The company I work for doesn't care. The way you dress is the way people acknowledge your business. Representing your workplace by dressing professionally is a great way to be recognized. Working for the Mayor Summer Job Program, many helpful things I've learned is to make multiple copies of one file at the same time. First, you put in your employee PIN number for the copier, then hit login. Next, type in how many copies you want and hit the copy button. The amount should have appeared on the screen at the top left. When copies have completed, you should have how many you put in. Learning the basics they teach you now helps with any other job your future holds. Another important work fact that everybody has to know and fill out is their employee timesheets. Having a work permit means you're an official employee. One responsibility that every employee is responsible for themselves is their timesheet. A timesheet has the employee name, number, department they work in. At the bottom, it has employee signature, date, department head signature, and date ought to be signed. In the middle should be two columns starting with Saturday, ending with Friday. On the top should have the label of each section of their columns, day, date, department number, hours worked, hours leave, etc. Depending on your work schedule, from the day you start to the day you're off, the time you get in and leave should be filled in. Your timesheets should always be in ink. There is a lot of work that goes into a job. The confidential paperwork that goes in after being sent to whom it is intended and are no use are shredded. All confidential files are protected and after they are not needed must be shredded to prevent them from getting into the wrong hands. As a summer intern, my hours were not as long and time goes by faster than you would think. One thing that will stay with me is if you're not 5 minutes late, 5 minutes early, then you're late. In my department, we have a lot of paperwork. Those files are sorted out by year, labeled, and put into place. Filing is mostly done by hand. In my department, we keep everything up to date by year and importance. As an employee, while answering the phone, you say in the depart first thing you say is the department you're in, followed by your name and add speaking. I work in the city administrator's office, so I would answer the phone like this. City administrator's office, this is Princess speaking. Then you continue your conversation. Answering the phone and taking a message are connected but have different instructions. To take a message, you need to get all the information about the caller. This means asking what their call is in reference to, getting their phone number, taking their area code, and asking if their call is urgent. When all that information is collected, put it on a sheet of paper and write down the date and time they called. Sign the bottom and give it to the person they called for. The best part about working here for me was saying how much I could handle. There were times when I wanted to quit, but I didn't. I still can and I'm still here. It feels good to work and get what you deserve. The feeling that I liked the most was getting to sign for my accomplishments on Fridays.
Well, this summer, having this job was good because it kept me busy and it taught me a lot about the working environment. It taught me basic things like that your uniform is important and to show up on time to things. And it also taught me to be, it also taught me to be focused on what I'm doing because it's important, especially in my department, which was community planning and business services, because we keep permits for all the different activities and buildings and law, and if something gets lost or misplaced, then if it comes down to a legal matter, some things could happen. We don't have any proof that we don't have any proof to defend our side. So I scanned the files and saved them. So if anything happened to the building and it burned down, that we would still have some record of files. And it also taught me a lot about how hard it is to open up a business because I just thought that you rented a building and then you could do whatever you wanted. But apparently, you gotta go through a whole process of turning in a permit and getting that approved and getting inspections and keeping the inspections renewed every 2 years. So this job, it taught me a lot about the basic things about the work environment, and it should help me in the future.
Hello. For y'all that don't know me, I'm Javon Moore. I work for the Laurel Police Department. Basically, what I do, I assist. Not I don't really assist the officers, but like sometimes they'll come in there and they'll ask my boss for like some help with like, say for sometimes the detective will come in there with a case, and my boss will ask them what's the case number. Sometimes it might be an incident or accident. When we have files that's from like 1988 through 2008, and they're downstairs in the archives. The archives basically is like a room, like a storage room. When I first got there, the archives was pretty messy. So picture a storage room with a bunch of boxes and like a bunch of paperwork on the floor. Me and my boss, Miss Jennifer, we went down there for like the first 2 weeks. We went down there, helped her clean it up, put them in the cases or whatever, like the file cabinets, helped her out with that. You have to hold arrest for 75 years. You have to hold arrest for 75 years, and you have to hold incidents for like, yeah, how many? It was 12. 27. All right. Had to hold that for 27 years. So, yeah, that's what I helped her with. That was a big help for the police department because, they really didn't have that set before I got there. The annual budget for the Laurel Police Department is $7,486,226. They spent some of that money for the National Night Out, for giveaways, for community events, and for other stuff that they use it for like the city of Laurel. They have programs such as the Cops Camp, which I'll be helping them with next week. They have Neighborhood Watch, and they also have educational programs. The chain of command for the Laurel Police Department, they have one chief, two majors. Yeah, one chief, two majors, three captains, 10 sergeants, 13 corporals, one master patrol officer, 32 private first class, 5 officers, and then those are for like the officers. But we also have civilian jobs, which I have. We have an officer manager, administrator assistant. We have a records coordinator. We have a chief communication specialist, a senior communication specialist, communication specialist 1, communication specialist 2, communication specialist trainee, property custodian, and an animal cop type thing. So yeah, this is basically what I've been doing for the past 7 weeks.
My paper. Are you really this tall though? Let me unfold it first. Hold on. Okay, so I'm Lael Bullock. Hi. Okay. So I work for the office of the clerk, and the clerk, well, city clerk, her name is Kim Rao, if you don't know her, which you probably do. So her responsibility is to provide assistance to the city council and to maintain and preserve all legislative rights, all required legislation in accordance to like the city codes, the county, and state. And she also maintains records of the city council meetings and the meetings of the boards and committees. Okay, sorry. Well, The city council, well, they work with every department. So if, Parks and Recreation needed something to be done, they would also have to go, to a department which they needed, and then they would have to go to the city council to maybe get it passed or something, I guess. Residents and businesses also call my department if they have complaints or if they want something to be done, such as if they want to be, I don't know, putting up a fence, or if they say a house next to them had 10 people for a one-bedroom apartment or house, then they would call the city council and then they would help them fix that problem. As for their annual budget, the clerk's office, they have 3 budgets: elections budget, the clerk's budget, and then the city council's budget. And then they also have a budget called the fiscal year, which starts July 1st of one year and then ends June 30th of the next year. So this fiscal year's budget has already started July 1st, my birthday, this year, and it's going to end 2013, June 30th. And basically what I did this summer, I scanned documents such as ordinances, charter resolutions, and council meeting minutes into a program called Laserfish so that other people or workers can access documents that they need without having to look into a file system. So, not a file system, but a cabinet, so it can be clean. And they're actually putting on the website where citizens can actually look at the council meeting minutes and ordinances and resolutions if they wanted to. I answered phone calls for Kim, left messages. I updated Laurel City Code books, which the mayor and the city council members need, and I picked up her mail. Basically, I was a mini assistant for her. And she is the only one who works there, but they're supposed to have an administrative specialist assistant. But basically, it's just her. So, that's it.
Okay. Wait, can I get it? Okay, it's in my face really badly. Okay. For the past 7 weeks, I've been working at the Laurel Cable Studio. I've learned a lot from it and have been shown how to put my ideas into production. Before that, I had to learn the ropes. I was taught how to work the cameras and use the chroma key screen. The chroma key screen is the same as a green screen, except it's painted onto the wall. Because of the recent technology, which was actually, I think, a $40,000 investment that the studio invested in, we were able to use that to change the background in our shows to various things such as news sets, cities, and meadows. I was also taught how to edit with the software they had. Helping to reorganize some DVDs was also a big part of my work. There were over 2,000 of them that needed to be watched, labeled, and printed. We wrote different genres on cardboard boxes, and once the DVD was done, we put it in. I also helped finish up the sound booth that was being made. Greg, Mark, and Craig, some of the volunteers that came in each day, ordered 2 panes of glass that they needed to install, and I helped put them in. When my show idea was decided, I went to work on that. I spent about a week making the game show wheel, which is probably the biggest project I've ever done. I took a piece of foam core, cut it into a circle, and painted different sections onto it. I then labeled the sections and separated them with duct tape. The wheel wasn't really a wheel shape, so Mark and Greg went to the store to buy a panel of wood. They cut it into a circle and glued the foam core wheel to it. This made the wheel easier to spin, and it looked a lot better. The next day, some of my friends came in to be contestants on the show. The filming didn't go very smoothly, which was probably due to the fact that I wasn't completely sure what the game was, and we ran into some problems there. However, we found a solution, which was to pre-record the questions we would be asked and rig the wheel to spin on certain categories. Once everything was all edited together, I realized that it was missing something. It needed a voiceover on some parts of it, and I needed help finishing that. Overall, working at Laurel Cable was a great experience, and I really enjoyed it. I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I was given and the chance to meet the wonderful people that I did, including Mr. Oliver, Miss Kareen, Carl, Jim, and Regina over the past weeks. Thank you.
So short. So I worked in the Budget and Personnel Services Department, which is also known as BAPS, and it's also known as the Finance Department. There are 8 people working there, and the budget for the new fiscal year is a little over $650,000. So everyone does something different in the department, and it's honestly like a big group effort. Like something comes in from the mail or from the window, and they each do something to it, and it changes each time, and then until it goes where it needs to be. The little window we have, people pay for things like special trash pickup, permits for like a yard sale they want to host, or for like a fence they want to put up, or if you want to get your passport, there's a fee for that too. And every morning the police department will come in, well, someone from the police department will come in, and they will hand out a bunch of things, but they'll hand out a ticket that they wrote up, and we have to file them, or sometimes pull them from the files because they got paid for it, or because they have to go to court or something. And so I was there. I did a lot of filing, a lot of scanning, a lot of boxing things up for FY12 to implement for the new things coming in FY13. It's really amazing how much stuff they have to keep. For like the payroll lady, she has to keep the paper that we have to sign to get our checks, and also our timesheets for 7 years. And it's in the archive room, and it's pretty full. So every day the mail comes in, and it includes bills or invoices, and it says that we need to pay someone something. So the AP lady, she accounts payable, she makes checks every week, and they get sent out in the mail. And there's a lot of different checks, and it takes a long time to load because the computer's really slow. But these guys really do a lot for our city, and they're pretty awesome people, and I've learned a lot while I'm here.
Okay. I'm India, and for the summer I work with the Department of Public Works, and basically what they do is they handle recycling and trash pickup, street maintenance, they buy police vehicles as well as fixing them, tree management, snow removals, and they oversee all construction in the city of Laurel. And we also inspect the city, and depending on the situation, we send them out to different departments such as Parks and Recs, the police department, and more. Basically what I did was I went out with Laurel, the deputy director, and we inspected the city for fallen branches, dead trees, stuff like that. And I did a lot of filing and updating some of their systems and answered phones. Yeah.
I'm Sabira Hendrickson, and I worked in the mayor's office. Okay. The mayor's office is the head of the municipal center. Its functions are to handle city affairs, meet the needs of residents, plan city events, and organize city meetings. It is also responsible for the enforcement of city laws, the implementation of community initiatives, and the appointment of department heads or agencies. One of the major jobs of the mayor's office is its interactions with residents, businesses, and other agencies. The mayor's office interacts with residents on a regular work week when answering calls from people who live in the city or might have questions about the city, responding to letters or emails, or helping residents with any problems they might have. The office also interacts with businesses when meetings are being set, when the mayor is being invited to different functions, proclamation letters, donations, or charity events. It also interacts with other departments when planning the city budget. In the mayor's office, there are 3 consumed positions. These include the mayor, the executive assistant, and the administrative assistant. The mayor's job is to sign or appoint different legislations, promote city activities, recruit businesses for the city, and help build the city's jobs and tax base. The executive assistant's job is to plan or coordinate meetings, compose reports, manage office funds, and order supplies for the office. The administrative assistant's job is to answer telephone calls, print or scan different documents, and file documents. My job in the summer jobs program was to be an assistant to the administrative assistant. I was to either sort or pick up mail, scan different documents, answer the phones, and leave messages. And I worked on a major project, which was a coloring book for the city. Okay. The annual budget for the mayor's office consists of the compensation, operating expenses, and the capital outlay. The compensation in the mayor's office includes salaries, performance awards, and the mayor's salary and the summer jobs program. The operating expenses in the mayor's office consist of daily operational items like staplers and pens or any other items. The annual budget is for the total budget is approximately $550,000. In conclusion, I enjoyed myself at the mayor's office job, and I had a good experience.
Hi, my name is Trey Ridley, and I worked in the IT department this summer. There are 8 people in this department. The IT department interacts with every other department. They have to act upon problems that occur with computers or any other technology that they are in charge of. They interact with the city by assisting in programming things or fixing computers. I don't remember 5 minutes without the phones ringing, either from somebody having a problem with a computer or somebody over at the pool. Some things I learned about how to deal with the issues in the computers is that you have to judge priorities. If the problem is stopping somebody from working, then it has high priority. All other events are judged and have an expected completion date. During the summer, I learned how to install RAM and how to install Windows on a computer. I also learned how to map network drives, find the IP address of a computer, remotely log into a computer, and so much more. Through the summer, more and more things were taught to me. As soon as I understood one thing, another new thing was thrown at me. The people in the department helped me understand everything they said. One thing I learned within the first week, IT has a lot of abbreviations. I started off by installing Windows on computers that lasted for a couple of weeks. Then I moved to mapping out local stores and assigning their website to it. In the middle of all this, I had to program radios for the 4th of July. When I got back from my week away, I got my paycheck. That was definitely my accomplishment of the summer. I got paid to do something that I enjoy. The one thing that I'm going to miss the most is the positive environment that every department member provided in assisting me this summer.
They had to say the best for last. All right. My name is Laurel Willis, and I worked in Parks and Rec. And I learned that the Parks and Rec does everything, whether it's maintaining, financing, operating, and improving over 9 facilities and 17 parks. And I didn't work in those facilities. I worked here, and I worked with Mr. Mike, Miss Jennifer, Miss Janet, Miss Deanne, Miss Bonnie, and Miss Joanne. And we worked on like renting those facilities to other people and maintaining like senior programs and doing a lot. And what I did was I was in a copier room 24/7, just copying a whole bunch of papers. And I was at the front desk relieving Miss Teresa for her lunch and breaks, answering telephones, helping people with passports. That was passports and just people that wanted to come out to visit other departments. And another thing I learned was that the Parks and Recreation budget is huge because it's separated into 2 different parts. one part is for like maintenance, for maintaining all the facilities, and then the other part is like for the programs that go on for each, and making sure the programs go good. And they spend a lot, but they do get a lot. So, and I mean, I learned also that the program was really good, and I learned you gotta be professional, always keep a smile when you're working at the front desk, cause I'm the first person they see when they come in here. So I had to keep a smile on no matter how many phone calls I got, how many passport people I got. And I just learned you gotta be professional in this, and I'm gonna miss it.
All right. Well, it sounds like you learned quite a bit about city government. There's a lot that goes on, and it looks like that you got to experience some of that. How many are eligible to come back next year? How many want to come back next year? Oh, more than eligible. Very good. All right. We've discussed that. I can't make any promises. The city is a diverse place to work in. There's a lot that goes on, and there's a lot of interaction that goes on between the departments. Some of you pointed out some of that. One of the examples that I would use, we have legislation that was created by the mayor and city, or approved by the mayor and city council for high grass and weeds. When we get calls about that, it would come in through the Department of Parks and Recreation, through their front desk. It would go back to Community Planning and Business Services, who would take the complaint. The actual work of cutting the grass would be assigned again to Parks and Recreation. They would go out and do the cutting. If somebody has a problem with them being on their property, the police would be involved. The bill that is generated for that work comes out of Budget and Personnel Services. Public Works maintains the vehicles that would be taking that equipment. So all of the departments are involved in some way. If a complaint comes in, the CA's office is likely to get it. But all the departments are related in that. The phone system that took that call was IT. The computer system where it's logged in and where the payments are made would be IT. So I don't think there's any department that wouldn't be involved in a fairly simple complaint about high grass and weeds. And that's how most things in the city are operating. They're all interrelated. So I hope that you gained some knowledge. I think that you did. You reported some very interesting things. We would look forward to seeing you next year and next week. We hope that the mayor, well, we expect that the mayor would be at our luncheon. And at that point, we would look for input from you, feedback from you on how the program worked and what you think might be done to improve it. So that's all that I have for you today. So thank you all for coming.